angels are described differently than human beings, and we can glorify God as humans. How much would you say that angels are observers of what happens to human beings, and do they learn about grace and things like that through observing us? Is that an accurate way to see things?
Well, I would say this. They are a very technical bridge. So
It
those
must
rules,
be because it's a huge
expanse.
ferro vault, isn't it? It's a round vault with a pointed top.
Yeah, so the rail is sort of pointed,
Yeah.
which gives it that shape, but it's a true
Round,
arch.
yeah.
And imagine that those were the state secrets of the day. So to create that bridge was the proprietary knowledge of somebody's kingdom, and they could build that, which connected those two places.
One of the children's
that
angels.
maybe the next kingdom couldn't.
And
This is how the special status of Masons, as the builder architects, the sort of the premier free citizens of the time, really
They're the voice and the protector of society
That's
through
right.
the ages. These masons that
Infrastructural.
could implement their visions in stone. I was in a theater in Mostar in Bosnia, and tragically, this bridge was pulverized by one of
Right.
the warring sides, and they kept throwing bombs at it until finally it fell into the river. And I was in this theater, and they were videoing it, and finally, after day of bombardment, that precious stone structure collapsed into the river. And of course it was tragic, but to hear the anguish and the sadness of the local people as they watched that, I'll never forget it reminding me that bridge was more important than a pile of stones.
Well, and that's one of the great mysteries, right? We assemble these piles of stones to create these masterpieces, and they end up becoming tremendously meaningful. I mean, look at Notre Dame, right? Grieved. I felt profound grief, and I wasn't alone. I mean, we all felt it. There was people who weren't French, who weren't Christians, who didn't care about history.
Exactly right. Wow, so it bridges things. The Acropolis in Athens is no accident. It's inspired people and philosophers and societies for eons. And the What is it, Richard, about the Pamphlet?
Is a book that of significance, but the book that we want to be in is the Lamb's book.
Great summary.
And this is an important term because a lamb
Bring
is
you to your knees, even if you're
a lamb can be used for
not a, there's something about that faith that just,
is that the Lamb of God who was slain before the foundations of the world, meaning this was God's plan.